After nearly 16 years in Vancouver, British Columbia, I've gone from just a little boy from the other side of the world that couldn't speak a full sentence in English to a rather timid teenager finding his identity, to a young adult starting out in the real world, and now I'm in my mid-20s with a few years under my belt as a professional. During those years, I was able to experience so many life events here in Vancouver, make and lose some friends, fall in love, go through heartbreak, discover and develop new skills and hobbies, try a couple different jobs in several industries. And just as much as I've changed over the years, the city has changed as well. In this video, I'll share with you my most honest experience of living in Vancouver and share with you my most raw opinion on what it's really like to live here. I still have vivid memories of my first few years in Canada, attending a small elementary school in Burnaby, and just how different it was from schools in South Korea where I'm from. I think I can speak generally about East Asian countries, schools even from very young ages. Everyone from the teachers, parents, society, and the kids themselves put a lot of emphasis and pressure and very high expectation to perform in school. In addition to getting excellent grades, they're expected to excel in sports, music, volunteering, and even how they dress and their status in society. I don't want to say that this way or the other way is better than the other because I absolutely see the downfalls and benefits of each approach. But in all honesty, I'm glad I went to school here. For my situation, my parents decided that they would prefer to raise my brother and I in Canada, where things are, in general, much more relaxed in comparison. Now looking back as an adult, I can just see how much my upbringing in Vancouver, Canada has impacted and really shaped who I am today as an individual. I feel that I was able to attend school without too much pressure to perform and had much more freedom of time and mind space to explore other hobbies such as music, sports, and other extracurricular activities other than just academics without feeling judged. This allowed me to try and join numerous different sports teams all the way from elementary to high school. And I ended up falling in love with the sport of basketball, which is still a huge part of my life to this day, allowing me to make so many new friends and build a community through it, while helping me stay healthy and balanced. While this is obviously possible in other parts of the world too, I especially felt supported by the community to do so here, and I'm very thankful for that. Further on, after attending just a few weeks of post-secondary in Simon Fraser University, I made a decision to drop out and work instead. I tried a couple of odd jobs here and there while obtaining my real estate license to become a realtor because, well, I felt like it was a much more suitable choice for my situation at the time, as I knew I wanted to try this profession rather than pay tuition for school in a field where I wasn't even sure of. My decision was actually supported by my family and friends, and I really never felt judged by anyone, where I know in some parts of the world, like East Asia, not attending a university to get a degree is usually not viewed in the best lights. Although I heard that is changing nowadays from what I hear. I think that this is a great part of living in Vancouver and Canada in general, where your decision to pursue post-secondary or pursue different work like trades or starting a business is supported and respected, rather than being met with judgment from society. As I start to get older and think of starting a family, I question in which environment that I would want my future kids to grow up in. And I think Vancouver is still at the top of the list for all the good things I mentioned above. Are there things to improve? Sure. But which place does not have things to improve? And I see the education system in Vancouver as a place where I would want my future kids to be part of. I'm sure everyone has heard by now that Vancouver is one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. And it's been that way for pretty much the whole time I've been here for the last 16 years, and it really hasn't gotten any better to this day. Now, this doesn't surprise me for the fact that even though we complain about how expensive things are, especially housing, I know that the demand to live in such a beautiful city like Vancouver is very, very high from all around the world, being that Vancouver is a desired city globally. From having a good education system, safety, beautiful nature, vibrant and diverse communities, growing economy, and many more reasons, a lot of people have been coming to Canada like my family did, and still wanted to come, in a limited housing supply like other major cities such as San Francisco and New York and Seoul and many more. Now, we don't hold nearly as many people as most of those cities, and Vancouver can be doing a much better job at housing our population, we're starting to see some more initiative from the city, such as rezoning our single-family lots to allow for more density, to build more townhomes, apartments, row homes, and multiplexes. Now we'll have to wait and see just how effective these solutions will be in the coming years, but I do see hope in relieving at least some housing shortage that we have been experiencing for a long time now. Owning a home is a pipe dream for so many Vancouverites, especially for young people like myself, where our families don't already have real estate equity to help out. It is quite upsetting to see such high cost to buy a home, let alone a one-bedroom condo anywhere in Metro Vancouver. And I hope that changes sometime in the future, but I know that it'll be very difficult. Aside from housing, we have very high costs of everything else too. I'm no economist, so I won't even try to cover the exact reasons why things are so expensive here. But I definitely do feel the pain of costs adding up and rising every year, like so many of my other fellow Vancouverites. I can't say our food is affordable, but the prices are definitely in line with other major North American city prices, plus tip and tax. This is also the case for grocery shopping, as I feel that groceries are very expensive too, whether you shop at Whole Foods or Safeway or even Walmart and Superstore. Even though I can't say it's unique to Vancouver, after 16 years and about 7 years of paying for my own bills and expenses, I still can't get used to these high costs of living for food, for housing, for gas, and everything else. To this point, it was just part of the sacrifice that I was willing to make to live in this beautiful city that I grew up in. And I don't know, maybe one day there would be a point where I can't justify it anymore. But as of now, I am still putting in an effort to making it work with the current cost of living. The third topic I want to speak on is what it's really like to live and enjoy what Vancouver has to offer. And the most significant amenity that we have is definitely the nature. Having so many beaches and lakes all around us is such an underrated luxury that we have here. Whether you live in downtown Vancouver or over in Fraser Valley, we have lakes and the oceans pretty close by within about 30 minutes or less. Growing up, this was something I took for granted, always having that access, but after speaking with people from other parts of the world, I realized how fortunate we are to have these waters to enjoy nearby. Another thing I appreciate is that we have tons of green. Obviously the mountains and forests and parks, but also integrated into our cities, even downtown Vancouver. Again, I hadn't really noticed these aspects having grown up here, but apparently it's not as common in other major cities where there just aren't as many trees and plants in busy areas. Vancouver has a reputation for being a very health-conscious city, where the city's favorite hobbies seem to be very outdoorsy, like hiking, running, camping, and just simple things like going for a picnic or chilling by the beach. And because of just how much our residents appreciate and enjoy these outdoor spaces, I can definitely feel that the city does make it a priority in maintaining these public areas like parks, lakes, and beaches. For going out, there are plenty of events and concerts here in Vancouver, being that we're the second biggest city in Canada after Toronto. Though we're not as big of a city in North America like Toronto, Seattle, LA, New York, and etc., we're just big enough where most music artists and performers do stop by in Vancouver. I've been fortunate enough to take advantage of this by attending UFC, NBA games when they come here for preseason, go to concerts and stand-up comedy shows, where I know for some people that live in a smaller city need to travel to. Now, without a doubt, my favorite thing about living in Vancouver is the diversity. Diversity of people, culture, neighborhoods, and especially the food. Before coming to Canada when I was 9, I hadn't spoken to anyone that wasn't Korean. But after being here for 16 years, nearly all of my friends are from different backgrounds, like Chinese, Persian, European, South Asian, and any ethnicity and culture you can think of. I have at least had a chance to talk to. Vancouver is one of the most diverse cities in the world, and this has given me such a broader perspective and understanding and appreciation for other cultures compared to some of my other friends back in Korea who rarely have a chance to deeply get to know other backgrounds aside from what they see on the internet or TV, or maybe surface level interactions at best. This diversity also bleeds into the food scene, which I definitely take advantage of every single week by enjoying foods from all different cultures just a few minutes away, whether it's Vietnamese, Korean, Persian, Indian, or good old White Spot or Denny's. It's just so accessible. To add on that, I feel like Vancouver is truly becoming a foodie city with very high standards for the food quality. People are willing to go out of their way to try different cuisines, line up and research for food, and restaurants care enough to cater to different dietary restrictions, being that we're so diverse in population with different needs. The last thing I'll touch on is safety. After nearly 2 decades of living in Vancouver, I can comfortably say that there are only a couple moments where I genuinely felt concerned for my safety. I know it's easier for me to say as a healthy young man who may be targeted less from the very start, as compared to say like my mom, or elderly person, or a young woman may feel more vulnerable. There are still gang activities in places like Surrey, but often they're usually targeted rather than random. And as long as you know to watch out for specific areas and times, you'll probably be okay. One thing that does concern me is the homelessness. That, to me, seems like it has gotten worse over the last couple of years, and I think that other Metro Vancouver residents have noticed as well. I know that it's a multifaceted issue with no simple solution, so I won't even pretend like I know how to solve it and who to blame, but it does raise some concerns about general safety of the city. I have personally seen lots of homelessness in downtown Vancouver and near where I live in the West. I think to myself, even though I may be able to put up with it, would I feel totally safe if my family members or future kids walk around alone? And the answer is frankly no. Even though this is not a unique problem to Vancouver compared to other major cities like Toronto, San Francisco, New York, and many more, as I get older and older, I think this will become a larger concern if this issue is not addressed strongly, and I think it's something you should consider if you're considering moving here with your family, especially near urban areas. All in all, when I look at my life as a whole in Metro Vancouver, I can say that this city allows me to have a balanced life with poor culture, the mild climate, beautiful nature that is so accessible, and flourishing diversity with unique cultures. I still think that Vancouver is a beautiful city to live in, just at a cost. There are absolutely some major issues that can be addressed, especially the cost of living in Vancouver. After 16 years, I am grateful to have grown up here and still being part of the city to this day. I don't know for a fact that my future lies here in Vancouver, but for the foreseeable future, I'll be living here. I am both anxious and excited to see how the city will develop. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with someone who may find it helpful.